Welcome everyone. We're going to be combining what you love, which is Lawn Fawn and Stampin' Up. We're going to add a few elements for an easy pufferfish card. And of course, as you know me, we modify. We're going to be decorating the already beautiful designer paper from the Stampin' Up collection to give it a little extra touch. And this way it will really make it your own creation. Plus you can have different effects once you do actually add some extra decorative colors. And as you can see, I have my hot chocolate ready, and I'm lining up my initial card base that I will be placing this beautiful paper on. This is a really nice set, and it's called Whale of a Time. It's a 6x6 piece, which is large enough definitely to create a card and sometimes even have leftover pieces. In this case, I will be modifying, you know me, I modify, I do different things. The collection here is absolutely beautiful. It's double-sided, and sometimes it's kind of hard to hide one side. You can see that little circle. I will be using that shortly, so I pointed that one out. I'm also pointing out to the rays of the sunlight on this paper, and as I said, it's double-sided, so it's very difficult to sometimes figure out which side to use because these papers are quite beautiful. This case, I'm using the underwater theme, and I'm actually cutting it on the bottom. Yes, can you believe this? I'm trimming this beautiful piece of paper, but it will be okay, I promise. I have my card base, and I just kind of lined up the paper. I eyeballed it. Not a whole lot of measuring is needed, and if you're a little short or a little long, just trim as you need, or if you want to, you can measure it out. You know me, if I don't have to use a ruler, I don't. So a little piece was sticking out. I trimmed that up, and I'm actually going to save that because the other side is something I'm going to be using for a different little effect, and stay tuned for that. As you see, there is that bottom piece, and I'm lining it up how I would like to have it, and yay, it will fit. You see right there? And I will be using that like a 3D pop-up, so it'll have a little gap in between. And if you like this idea, and if you like Lawn Fawn, give me a thumbs up, because I am using this awesome Lawn Fawn Shadow Box card Ocean add-on theme, but I'm not making a shadow box card, and I'm not using all the pieces. I am just using some of them, and I have cut them out already. Decided not to show you that. I figured you don't need to see how I'm cutting things. You might be bored to death with something like that, so I didn't want to show you that. That is a cute piece, by the way. Lawn Fawn has fantastic videos. You can tune into them and get your ideas from them as well. I highly encourage you guys to look at different arts and crafts and videos. It makes a lot of fun and makes you have more ideas. As you know, I never sell anything. I just ask you for your subscriptions, your love, your sharing, and thank you for that. And I just want you to enjoy my videos, and I hope I am inspiring you to create something of your own, because I always hope that my card art will someday become your card art. So modify away and enjoy. You see those little circles? Those are some of the bubble circles that come with this awesome Lawn Fawn die. And of course, there are those cubes that I use all the time. And I travel a lot, so I apologize. The lighting effect is a little different because I'm making this in the middle of the night. So I literally had to get a bunch of lights together just to make sure there's enough light here for you guys to see. I love these little stamps, and what I'm actually doing is creating different shadowing and shading effect. Now, on the little star over there, you can use that little star that comes in the Lawn Fawn die set as a star, you know, in the sky. But in this case, I will be making a starfish. And those cute little things, those are actually little leaves that are underwater leaves, and they are seaweeds. You know, some people call them leaves, but they are seaweeds. And those cute little three little prong looking thingies, those are little corals that I'm using. You can also use them as little plants. And just color them in any color that you want. There's really no specific way. I have colored them in a little bit darker with a little bit of different reddish effects from that set that I have. And then I'm adding a little bit of green. As you know, underwater sea life is beautiful. It's colorful. It's vibrant. You can make it super, super vibrant. You can use Copic markers, use what you have at home. This is what I have. And my blender brush I like, so I'm using that. Now here, what I'm doing is, remember I said in the beginning, we're going to make this wonderful looking paper. Look how beautiful that side is. Oh, this wonderful looking paper your own by coloring it in. I am actually adding the colors that I have from my embellishments from Lawn Fawn to this designer paper. I'm using the same colors and blending them in to the paper to create some shadow effects and to kind of coordinate the extra dyes that I have with the colors that I'm putting onto the paper. This way I feel it blends a little better and doesn't look a little awkward, and everything kind of makes the scenery come together for me. And a lot of times I do that. It's an old trick that I've learned way back when I was a little girl in school, and we had to do a lot of coloring and blending in watercolors. So see, I have a certain color there on the edge, so here I go. On the right corner, I'm just adding the same color effects, because again, that piece of paper will be something that will be put on top of the cut designer paper and will create this 3D effect. So I'm trying to blend it in. Some of it obviously will be hidden, but some won't. And I'm bringing those same colors in on the left-hand side that I have on the initial paper. You see that light with the bubbles? Well, I wanted to create some sort of sunlight effect. So I'm taking my yellow and orange colors and I'm bringing those colors down and into the scenery that the paper already has. So this is kind of nice because the paper is so pretty. It already has 90% of the work completed for me. I don't have to stamp it or color it in, but I did want to create that lighting effect. So as the sunlight hits it on the water from the top, I'm creating the same kind of light effect towards the bottom of the ocean. And of course, these colors are fantastic for that. But again, if you don't have it, just try what you have. So I'm lining up the bottom portion of the paper that I had cut out, and now I'm just adding that extra little touch of blending. And you don't have to line it up too well in this case, at least I didn't, because I will be adding some other things on. You will see, stay tuned. And I'm trying not to lose those tiny little pieces. So here I am basically lining up the card base, and you know my wonderful double-sided tape I use. And as you could see, if I have extra pieces, I just glue that on top of the double-sided tape because the back side of that is a very nice slick paper, so the tape will not stick to it. So if you have any extra pieces like I have had here, I put those on, and this way I don't have to throw away even the smallest piece. Yes, I know us crafters. Yeah, we save everything. Isn't that crazy? Oh well, it's better to have extra than none at all. So once I have my paper fixed, I have a 3D tape, and I'm using my scissor to take the backing off, and this is how I'm going to be able to give that raised lift effect. And you see I'm lining up with the bottom piece of my cardstock. And check this cutie pie little thing. Oh, I just love this little thing. It's a puffer fish, and it has an open little mouth, and it's got cute little googly eyes, so you could put things in there. I'm demonstrating with my nail. That's my crackled nail, by the way. It's got blue paint. Actually, it's nail polish, of course, but it's a crackle effect. So you guys know I like to play with my nail polish and different effects. But I stuck my little finger in there so you could see that the little guy can have something in his mouth. And of course, with that beautiful lighting effect on the back, I just felt like I had to feed him with something. So I figured, well, do I put a little coral in his mouth? Because, sometimes puffer fish will nibble on certain things. I'm like, yeah, that's not something that I want to use. And then I figured I'm going to go ahead and add the 3D bumpers. These are little circle ones, to the puffer fish onto the back so it raises up and gives that additional 3D look. And the little googly eyes that he's got, you can use the tiny little pieces and put those on as well. And shortly you will see what I did is, because like I said, I stuck my little finger in his mouth to show that he's got a little gap over there. I'm going to be feeding him a little fish. So I didn't feel like stamping out another piece of fish. I felt like I can use something that I already have. So you will see that little piece of paper on the right-hand side that is next to the scissor. It looks like a little triangle, a sloppy triangle. Well, that was the piece of paper that I cut out from the bottom portion of my designer paper. I actually cut it off, not cut out, cut it off. And on the back side of that beautiful paper that you see that is glued down, it had those nice, cute little fish. So you will see I will be cutting that piece out, and making my little fish out of that tiny little piece. As you know, I always have a hard time trying to take these tapes off, no matter how great the product is. I always have a hard time, so I just always use something sharp like the back of a scissor or anything with a prong, and then I can get them off. That's my tip to you. Just, don't stab yourself. You know that. You're an adult. So watch it. And yes, I've poked myself, just like all of you before. But I finally got them off, and I was so happy. It's such a relief when I get those backings off. I don't know why I always suffer with those things, but I still like to use them. So I'm kind of lining him up, and as you see, it's just, you know, random. You don't have to have any specific spot. It's where you like, and I'm turning that little piece of paper over. Look how tiny the fish is. Oh, yeah, fussy cut that one. Yes, and I did. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I really like detailed work sometimes, and some of my cards take a lot longer than they should. And as you know, if you've heard on my previous videos, and you guys who are my really good friends that I craft with, you know, some cards I take and it makes 2-3 weeks. And there it is. I lost my little fish. He went under the sea. So I'm trying to get him out, and I'm trying to figure out how he's going to come out. So I have my little quick tool there, that little, what the heck is this called? It's called a QuickStick. There we go. It's a precision pickup and placement tool. And I helped myself bring that tiny little fish out of the ocean theme. And now, of course, the challenge is putting the little guy in his mouth so he can eat it. And the second challenge is putting some kind of glue on there. Now, the puffer fish is made out of mirrored cardstock, and those things really don't glue very well together with just regular glue, as I have noticed. It will hold for a little bit, but it has a tendency not to hold the glue. So I've learned the hard way. I've had projects that I've made, and I used just regular glue, and the pieces that I glued onto the mirrored cardstock didn't last for me. So, especially when it comes to smaller pieces. So I just use a double-sided, really strong tape, and I put that on, and they seem to last. When I make a card, I would like to have the recipient hold on to it for a while at least, and not have it fall apart on me or on them very shortly after they're given the card. So I like things to last. So I made this tape. See how much longer it is? There it is. That's my little fishy that he's going to be eating. And I'm taking the backing off, and the extra pieces I will fold over, and they will give an extra little height, which is very minimal, just a few millimeters. It will not make a big difference, but it'll serve as an extra pieces of glue. So as you can see, I'm kind of tapping them on and folding that glue strip over my little tiny little fish. And of course, you don't have to do this. I'm just demonstrating, giving you an idea. You could put something bigger in his mouth or just leave it out completely. But hey, this was my card art, so I figured I'm going to put a fish in his mouth, and that was the closest thing I could think of, and I kind of like it. So he might not always eat something big, but it's a little snack for him. And so I finally got that glue just where I want it. And now the trick is to get that little piece partially under his mouth and in his mouth, and not have it all over my fingers, which, of course, it's tricky, but it worked. It worked. Little pieces of help from different gadgets in the back of my nail. As you can see, it's a little struggle, but I don't mind. I actually have the patience to do things like this, and I enjoy it. So this is my way of relaxing. Things like this don't frustrate me, to be honest with you. Even if I gripe a little bit and say, oh, it was just, oh, so hard. It really wasn't. I have fun with it. It's my little hobby, so, you know, I do the best I can. So finally, he has his little fishy. Look at that. And he's able to eat something now. Now we're all happy. I am rubbing anything extra off of the mirrored cardstock because you don't want any funky glue on there or anything like that, since it's a really nice piece. I'm back to my Lawn Fawn seaweeds, and I'm trying to figure out where to position them the best. And I have the double-sided tape, and I glue that on the piece of Lawn Fawn dye, actually, so it can hold on, and part of it on my nail so I can have it accessible. And I'm using those little pieces to put on the seaweed. And those little seaweeds are absolutely adorable. I feel like I just want to cut like 100 pieces out and put them in a container and use them for all kinds of projects later, and just color them in and go crazy one day. And I think I will end up doing that, because to me that's very relaxing. So here it is. I am putting partial leaf inside that 3D opening and partial on top of the puffer fish. And I'm doing the same thing here. Gluing the back of the seaweed. Folding over any extra tape. I like to make them a little bigger. It's just easier for me to make them bigger and fold it in than it is trying to get the right size. And you see how it didn't matter how the paper didn't line up exactly? It works. It just works. It's amazing. It's wonderful paper. And here's my little trash box. Here's another tip. It's just a regular facial tissue box, and I use that for my immediate trash. I'm lifting on my camera so you can see it a little better. And it makes a really nice throwaway trash container. That way, if you have any small pieces, you can put them in there. And since you have that soft see-through lid on top with a little thin plastic, if you happen to tilt your box or drop it upside down, the whole thing is not going to dump out all over your table or your floor. Some pieces might come out, but not the whole thing. So I really like to use these leftover tissue boxes for my craft trash and then just toss it all. And heaven forbid I happen to throw away a piece that I might need. Well, no big deal. I just have to go through a small box instead of a big container. So again, I'm back to my 3D tape. Here's another tip. I'm using Nuvo glue, but I wanted to maintain the glue not to dry out too fast, as I'm going to be using it for my little pieces of crafting items that I'm going to be putting onto my paper. So I'm using the back side of my 3D tape, and I'm using that to hold my glue because it's non-porous, so the glue will last longer. If you have any surface that it's non-porous and you put liquid glue on it, the surface will not suck in all that glue, and you can actually use it a little longer and stay out a little longer. So now I'm adding the little bubbles and different types of embellishments, and I'm a little bit off screen here. I apologize, guys. I'm trying to get my colorings together, and I didn't notice the camera was not 100% on the middle of my project. And here is one of my markers that I used a lot, but for some reason it got bent. Sorry. It looks messy. But here I am demonstrating to you how I'm making this cute little shell a little bit more unique. And all you do is add a few little lines to it, just like real seashells. A few little lines on the bottom to create that look for that shell. And you can make them any color. I just kind of used this set from Memento. It's like a light brown effect, just because I had a lighter colored brown effect on the original color. But you can color it any shape, size, color. You could make them larger. You can cut out a piece by hand. You can actually use the pieces that you cut out from the die and the paper and use those as stencils. And you can stencil in some more pieces. But here, I didn't feel like I needed it since the paper was already busy enough. And it was quite lovely. So I'm adding some of the bubbles from the Lawn Fawn set and taking anything extra off with a little piece of paper towel. You can wet your paper towel a tiny bit. That'll pick up any of the extra glue. And it will not hurt your paper. And you can add any extra color with your Memento markers if you want to. But here, I just added all my colors first, and I'm using my Nuvo craft glue that I like a lot, and I'm using that piece of double-sided tape, the top side again, to contain that glue so it doesn't dry out on me. And as you can see, these bubbles are adorable. And I turn one upside down, one the other way, and then press it down with my paper towel there. See how cute they look. They just work. I love the details with Lawn Fawn. And there is that cute little star, and you can use that as a regular star, like a Christmas star, star in the sky. And here in this case, I'm using it to make a starfish, and I'm just adding some lines, and I'm actually adding some extra lines, not just the 5 that some starfish have. Some starfish have actually more arms than 5, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm creating a few lines and then adding some dots just to have a little different effect. And you can add as many of these cute little things on this paper as you feel up to it. I only added a few, but it really, to me, it made a difference. And you see how that glue doesn't dry out? Look how long it lasts on that backside of the tape. It really, really works. And see, it just creates a cute little effect on the paper. You kind of make it your own, and you can use different scraps of pieces of paper that you have as well. So if you want to cut a little piece of seaweed up and make it like a long string, you certainly can do that. Or just, use what you have from the die. Here I'm coloring in this one with a different shade of the Memento marker that I have. Edging it a little bit so it has a little darker effect on the sides. And again, sorry about my lighting. I was traveling and I'm not doing this at home. And I basically took everything but the lights with me. So I can only take so much when I go somewhere. I can't take everything. I can't take my entire house. um, Look at that glue. It's still lasting. See that? It's been out there for a while. I'm using, you know, I'm doing this as real time for you. So I'm only speeding up some parts of the video where I think it might be just, you know, easier for you to get the idea. You don't need to see every motion that I make. But here I kind of felt like it's easier for you to kind of figure out what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And I actually ran out of glue. See, it didn't dry out. I just ran out. So I'm adding some more glue. But honestly, to put your glue on something that's a non-porous surface works really, really well. At least it does for me. I'm adding the extra little coral. In this case, I'm using it as a coral. And I added it towards the back again. And you see how you can't really see how the things don't line up as well? You know, after you cut that piece of paper, it actually works really nice. So I thoroughly enjoy that. It's a very, very pretty piece of paper. I just got it not too long ago. I'm quite happy with it. And any small extra pieces that I do have, as you could see, I'm trying to pick up. There is my extra little starfish. And more tape on my fingers. And here I have the base of that starfish with a blue color. Therefore, I'm adding a little darker blue just to enhance the starfish's body a little bit better. Starfish are fascinating creatures. They're quite beautiful. I highly encourage you guys, if you can, if you have an aquarium someplace near you, or if you can visit someplace, go look at them. Obviously, right now, you know, with our restrictions, we can't really go to places, but there's always the internet, and you can always check out some wonderful underwater photography. And some people have some fantastic videos out there with underwater sea life. I really like swimming, and I enjoy underwater sea life. And a lot of my ideas when I color things, I get from real fish, real animals, real plants. So sometimes, you know, I make them kind of fantasy looking. But, you know, I like to make them look real. So check out those lids. They come from McDonald's, and they're different sizes. I like to use these lids for a variety of purposes. Like, for example, if you have spray ink that you have to spray, you can use that lid to control your spraying of your ink. But in this case, I'm going to be using it to control my glow-in-the-dark powder that I'm using from Lawn Fawn. I'm adding the glue here, and this will be a project where I'm not using any heat gun. I'm just adding the Nuvo drops, glue drops, and I am going to be using that McDonald's lid that you can get with your ice creams or your shakes. And I am using that to add a controlled method of putting on this glow-in-the-dark paint. Lawn Fawn has this fantastic product, and I use it a lot. I don't even know if I've made a video for you guys on this yet. I have a lot of videos, but I don't think I uploaded one. I think this is the first one. But anyways, this is a great way to channel anything that you wish onto your paper. You have less fallout pieces. You can direct your powders a lot better. If you have, like I said, inks that you need to spray, it works really, really well. And so here, what I'm doing is I'm just putting the lid back on just in case if I get klutzy, I don't want to spill it. And I ran for a moment to get some brushes. And I'm just using regular standard brushes, nothing fancy. But all I'm doing is adding the extra powder that is around the paper onto my drops of the little glue dots. So this way, the entire glue has the powder on it. Does that make sense? You won't need a heat gun. Just add all the powder onto your glue, and that's it. See that McDonald's ice cream lid again? Here we go. I am using it as a funnel now. Tapping the piece of paper, and super easy. You could just put it right on your embossing container, and you don't have to worry about anything else. It goes right in there. I'm brushing off anything extra, tapping, and you channel right in there what you need. And since it rests right on the top, it works perfect. I mean, the lid opening is fantastic with these Lawn Fawn embossing powders. It works with the other ones too. Just, you know, depending what size of a lid you have. You saw the other one had a larger hole, so obviously those are for something bigger. But these little ones are fantastic. And look, you can just use your brush and brush off any extra powder that you have from the container, and you're done. This is how easy this is. I'm going to have photos of the glow in the dark, by the way, so hang on there. It's going to come at the end of the video. And this is pretty much my creation, you guys. I hope you like it. I hope you have a chance to subscribe for me and share this video. I always am happy to see your comments, and thank you for everybody's support. You guys are so awesome. You leave me such loving words and everything else, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I am hoping to inspire you, and with your comments and your thumbs up and your subscriptions, you guys inspire me. I have some glow-in-the-dark pictures right here. And again, thank you for all your subscriptions, your wonderful comments, and everything else. Very appreciated. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Take care. Bye.